Hey, what's going on YouTube and to everyone in the FFBE community? In case you've been living under a rock for the past week, you probably know that Clash of Wills, my favorite game mode in FFBE, has undergone some really big changes. And to be honest, since they were first hinted at over the last few live streams, I've had my concerns and my doubts that it would go well. And here we are, about 3 days into the release of Clash of Wills Another. Now, I've put together a crack team of players who run the range from casual collectors to serious strategists and everything in between, and I presented them with a list of questions that I'm going to also be putting those into a pinned comment when I'm all done with this video. And I'd like for you as the FFBE community to give your feedback as well. In this video, we're going to go over those questions, get a general sense of their responses, and I'll give you my feedback and opinions as well. Though if you've been watching any of my videos for the past week, you probably have an idea of where I stand on the Clash of Wills Another issue. So when you're done watching the video, I want you to take a minute, give your answers to the questions that I'm going to post in the comments, and let's let Final Fantasy Brave Exvius know what we really think about Clash of Wills Another. Without further ado, we're going to get started on some questions, and I just want to point out a couple of things. One, just a general disclaimer that the comments that I'm going to be making during this portion of the video do not necessarily represent the opinions of me. These are not my opinions. These are opinions of people that I ask questions to. Because those opinions of theirs, I mean, I want it to be protected. I don't want them to be criticized or anything like that. I just want to share general feedback. I'm not going to share any of their names. Also, let's be real, some of the opinions that they're going to share do include some really harsh language that I don't usually get into in my channel, but I don't want to whitewash it. I mean, people have their feelings, people have their opinions, and I want to share them with you. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to do it just kind of bluntly and honestly. So hopefully that's okay. If you have an issue with language, definitely take a step away now, and that's not going to hurt my feelings, you know. But I want you to just really hear what people have to say. But let's dive into it. So my first question that I had for people was, what level of difficulty have you cleared of the current Clash of Wills so far, and how does that compare to your usual interaction with Clash of Wills? So here's some of their responses. I did level 99 with no mods. Usually I rank 1, and I really try to rank 1 with pleasure. There you go. So normally I'm rank 1. This person said they just did level 99. Normally I try to rank 1, but there's 0 chance for me this time. I cleared level 99 with no mods. I usually try to get that done and add mods over time unless I hate the fight that much. I've cleared level 99, but my score was not as good as it used to be, and I had to mess around with my team. I normally clear only to 99, like now, until after later in the week or a week after, but I'm usually able to rank 1 normally if I do it, if I have the time. I've cleared up to 95. Actually, I had a harder time than normal with Echelon 5 because Mania mode is part of Echelon 5, so I had to play around with a one-turn kill build. I've only cleared up to 97. Level 95, 350% mods. Working on level 97, usually I'm rank 1. So you kind of get the sense that, like, you know, we're 3 days into it. These are players who normally do really well, normally do rank 1, and they just haven't, for lack of enjoyment, for lack of ability, lack of sense that they think they can, lots of reasons why, but people just have not cleared level 99, let alone gone for rank 1. Question number 2. In general, prior to Clash of Wills Another starting, were you interested in or excited for the changes? Here we go. All the changes are really bad in terms of mechanics, unit options, and the fight itself is not fun when we can't build a team to give a serious try. I was indifferent. I needed to see how it worked. I was a bit excited and nervous at the announcement. I definitely took a back seat to approach, and I didn't want to judge it until I tried it. I was cautiously optimistic even after the livestream showcased the new features, but the nerfed boss that they used made me wary of how it would really turn out. I was really excited. Over the moon, actually. I was cautiously optimistic, but I had a bad feeling that it would be something that they could monetize. I was not interested. I didn't want something to be unnecessarily convoluted. I didn't expect the mess they gave us. So some kind of mixed opinions, right? Some people were excited, some people were nervous, a couple cautiously optimistics, one person just blatantly not interested. But not surprising, just given the feedback that I'm seeing from a lot of people. But how does that compare to how it feels now that you've actually tried it? Now that you've tried it, how do you feel about these new mechanics? Specifically, did you have fun? The mechanics are but the fact that it is so limited in options makes it dog shit. Esther offers nothing to the fight and no damage. I haven't gone that far yet to try the new mechanics. I'm not sure I want to. Not fun to me. I'm not a fan of the new mechanics. As a free-to-play player, I would not be able to get rank 1. The content isn't more challenging, it's more exclusive. The fun has been drained. The new mechanics are greedy, money hungry, stupid, and very unbalanced in terms of what you need to bring. I'm not enjoying the fact that I have to slot in a dead unit with Esther as my only unit capable of using a Vertex ability, and slot in newer units for Focus Plus. I hate the new mechanics. They have invalidated 99% of the units that you can use for Clash of Wills clears and force even big spenders to go deeper into the pocket just to clear content. I still hate it. I'm only trying it because I don't like to throw a tantrum and sit down. I'm trying to figure this out to justify my complaint or discover that I'm wrong. So kind of across the board, after players have tried it, they don't like it. Question number 4. This starts with a comment. It's my belief that the changes make the content less accessible to the general player base, due to the limited number of Vertex abilities and reasonable options for getting out of Mania mode to finish the fight. Do you agree or disagree? There is no right answer. I'll tell you right now, every person who supplied answers to my questions said it is definitely less accessible. So, here we go. Why should it be and should it not be? Way less accessible. I don't think rank 1 should be easy or to just copy a clear as it was in the past. However, there should be more options for units. Definitely less accessible. It shouldn't be here, but here we are. 100% agree it is less accessible and shouldn't be. That's what Dark Visions is for. I agree. No, Clash has always been shared. It should honestly be more friendly to newer players because they need to catch up, or at least the veteran friendly. Clash of Wills was at its best when you could use older Clash of Wills units and a hint of creativity to get rank 1. Definitely less accessible, because to get out of Mania mode we need Vertex abilities, which are limited to 2 units. The player base often has to pick and choose what their gacha resources will be spent on, especially free-to-play and minnows. I agree, it is less accessible, and limits the number of possibilities for creativity, while also forcing new players to pull expensive units that the lack of free-to-play Lapis has already restricted. It feels like the squeeze before the end. It's absolutely less accessible. No matter what category gets focus, it will be whatever recent banners they've served us, and the newest of those units will provide it, and given what we've seen. Could it get better if more units are added? Sure, but they will always tune it around the latest and greatest to paywall it. It will always limit creativity. I liked Clash of Wills for what it was, because it was a challenge that took effort, but rewarded more than just whales. This ruined DV, and now it has ruined Clash of Wills. It's a terrible feeling when you're not limited by your skill or your commitment, but by your luck, or how much money you're willing to spend. So, general consensus there, less accessible. In general, now that we've seen Clash of Wills Advanced, are you happy with the changes? Not happy, of course. Not happy. I am happy about putting the units together on a banner like I hoped. However, 2 is not near enough. He was talking about units with Vertex skills. I'm not happy with the changes. Get off my lawn. I'm not happy in the slightest, and I won't be until they get rid of this ridiculous paywall and make the game mode more accessible for everyone. I would rather masturbate with high grit sandpaper and lemon juice on my hands than spend for Mireille and rank 1. I'm halfway torn between the changes. as it stands, the limits on focus units and vertex units makes it not that enjoyable. No, the changes make me unhappy. Absolutely not. Alright, in general, players not very happy. Do you think this is a healthy change for the game? Currently, no. Fewer rank 1 players is fine, however, 2 units or forcing a new specific unit isn't healthy. We need a wider range of options. Absolutely not. If they add more options for characters with abilities, it can potentially make it fun, but with Mireille and Esther only, it feels predatory. This is about as healthy as a 90-year-old, 300-pound person with ulcers, diabetes, and IBS. No, this was not a healthy change. No, I used to roll my eyes with all the end of service talk, and now I'm not certain where we're headed with changes like this. What would you change about the new system if you could change anything? Focus and Focus Plus should be the same amount of focus, and the unit options with Vertex skills are completely stupid. I would like to change Mania mode to a mod option, have it turned on or turned off. I would make it so that every Clash of Wills unit would have a Vertex or a Focus ability and decrease the gap between newer and older Focus units. Give out more Vertex abilities that are actually useful to the fights. Have Focus abilities granted to everyone in the party, and let us decide who to bring. Vertex abilities are almost as annoying, but this will get better as more units are added. And then finally, is there anything good about the new system? What would you keep? At this point, I think nothing good was done. The new gauge system is fine, because basically we were nuking it in one turn anyways, or hitting the cap, effectively ending the fight. It's interesting, I don't hate the idea at all, it just really needs to have more options. The concept is cool, but the implementation is complete bullshit. Mania mode is cool, but only if it's done well. Having an area in Clash where you can deal increased damage to the boss is interesting, but poorly done in this instance. I think in the long run it could be an interesting challenge for veterans of FFBE, but only when it stops hardlocking us to the most recently released units as our only options. I actually hate HP locks, so Mania mode is actually preferable to me. However, forcing either the new unit or a premium in order to access the progression is a literal paywall in front of content completion. I just don't like another piece of content being paywalled and ranked. We already lost Dark Visions. I just want the one category of content they actually work on to be more enjoyable for a larger section of the community. Enjoyment is arbitrary, but any honest person will admit that it never feels good to have everything based on rank. This is why I miss Trials so much. So those are the questions that I want you to take a moment in the comments and provide us with some feedback. You know, put it there so that anybody who wants to see what the general player base feels about these changes, what do people have to say? What does it look like? How upset are people really as we're talking about all this? Let them see it, you know. But you might be wondering, what about me? You know, what are some of my opinions on this? Well, what I can tell you is that I usually get a rank 1 score in Clash of Wills. I've gotten a rank 1 score every month since Tidebringer Kaito came out. That was when I finally started to have the right number of EX levels, and I've always kind of complained that I feel like the EX level system is too demanding as far as like what it requires to take to a fight to get rank 1. If you've seen any of my recent videos, you know that I've been very skeptical about a lot of these changes, but believe it or not, I actually did want to have an open mind and give it a fair chance before I got really negative about Clash of Wills. That said, now that I've tried all this content, I am negative about it, and I'm really negative about it for a couple of reasons. One, I do believe that the game mode is far less accessible at higher levels of play, both because the EX level requirements haven't changed with these new changes, and now you also have to have pulled recent units at again high EX levels just to simply complete the content. So you know, if you didn't try to get Ramza or Noctis or any of the other Final Fantasy 15 units because you weren't a fan or you couldn't afford it or you weren't lucky enough when you tried, too bad. Better luck next month. And I hate that. The worst part about it is that there's been a severe lack of communication. So I'm going to show you some slides. We're going to get this out of the way. Get this out of the way. And I'm going to pull up this picture of Mireille. So notice how on the screen it says she has a new type of ability that will utilize focus gems made available in the upcoming Clash of Wills and other content. How hard would it have been when they announced Ramza to also have announced that this was coming and say in future content Ramza is going to have an ability that's going to create focus gems? How hard would that have been? That way people could have said, this seems really important. We could have made an informed decision and like gone ahead and chased those units. If people had known that they were going to need EX3, Ramza, and Agrius in order to pull off an Earth team, and probably Mireille too, you know, they would have been much more likely to probably pull rather than, I'm going to pull Ramza to EX2 because I'm really only using for Dark Visions and Vision World. You see what I'm saying? Communication has always been an issue, and here's an opportunity where they could have communicated just like they did on Mireille's live stream. They could have let us know this was coming down the pipe. You're going to need these units. Start preparing now. This is what it's going to look like. But they didn't. I think that's a fail. I don't think that the game mode should be less accessible. I think that Dark Visions should be inaccessible because you're competing against other players and their wallets. Clash of Wills should reward creativity and collecting units over time and not always having the new best everything. But that's what it's become. And even more so because you now have to have 2 to 3 units per month at high EX levels just to be able to participate. I don't like that. I am not having fun with the content. It is not fun, not because I cannot rank 1. I will go ahead and say right now, like, I don't have the collection of units at EX levels that I need in order to pull off a rank 1 clear. Honestly, I'm struggling with just how the fight works. There seems to be a lot of randomness and a lot of mechanics that don't really seem like they're fun to deal with. And so honestly, I've done a couple of attempts where I've succeeded to go activate bonus time and like done some big bursts of damage, but I'm having trouble with consistency because of how random the fight is. That's not fun. I will say that I feel like the fight itself is one piece of it, and the other piece of it is that the content itself, the new structure to the system, is lacking some really critical components that are going to make it more enjoyable. So I'm going to show some more pictures. Here is the Clash of Wills update that told us, here's the new mode, right? We get Mania mode. The boss is going to get stronger. You're going to accumulate focus to form and use gems. If the maximum focus is used, you get bonus time and defeat the enemy during bonus time to get a score. That's not new information, right? But in practice, that is not a whole lot of fun. So there's a reason for that. Focus abilities, once they get unlocked in Mania mode, can only be used one at a time, and they're not included in a unit's multicast, nor do they have multicast of their own, leading to really awkward setups. It can be done, but it's just not very effective, okay? So like, for example, you've got Ramza, and Ramza has, Focus Plus, right? He's got Focused Energy and Focused Defense, and he's got all these focus abilities, but he can only use one per turn. But we're in a meta where like you have to use multiple actions per turn to be effective because there's so many things you're trying to deal with. And like being able to use multiple focus abilities could actually make it really, really fun. Or being able to like weave and intermix them, be like, oh, I'm gonna use Focused Energy and Shout and Tailwind. Like that could be really fun, but we can't. You're just pretty much stuck using Focused Energy, which is not fun. Maybe this is something they're going to change in the future, but for right now, only being able to use one action per turn is a major, major handicap. And you have to use focus abilities to charge the vertex abilities, and you have to use the vertex abilities to charge the bonus time. and blah, 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 blah. That's not fun. Speaking of vertex abilities, right? We'll get to that in a second. The next thing I want to show you is focus abilities, right? So here, this is one of the comments that was made that Focus Plus and regular Focus are not the same. So like Focused Energy Plus gives you 3,000 focus and then auto cast it again next turn. So one use of this will actually fill the bar up about 1 1/3 crystals. So if you use 2 Focus Pluses, you'll get 2 crystals on turn 1, and then at the start of the next turn, you'll have 3 crystals, and you can unlock that bonus time right away. But if you're using units with like regular focused energy, they have less than 1/3 of the amount that new units get. So like compare Noctis to Flaring Ether Rain, 3,000 focused versus 900 focus. It's going to take you a long time to survive and fill up the focus meter for 3 gems, and it's just not viable. Like in the disparity is just huge. And why is that a problem? Because in Mania mode, the boss is powered up and its offense and defensive parameters increase, and your breaks are only worth 30% at maximum, and his resistances are only worth 40% at maximum. And his RNG AI just kind of goes nuts, and sometimes the boss does a million actions that are really deadly, and sometimes does nothing. And so it's just, it's not fun. Like, okay, I finally activate Mania mode, and I'm gonna charge up these focus crystals. Oh, guess this run was bad because he decided to use his AOE uncoverable, really dangerous magic 5 times in a row. 2 times is survivable. 5 times is kind of absurd, but I've seen it. It's not fun. Randomness is not fun. Also, when I use the morale bar, the game mode locks. So like if I happen to have used focus abilities and the morale abilities in the same turn, my turn ends and the boss just sits there, and the music plays and the animations kind of flicker and all of our buttons are grayed out, and we just have to reset the game and hope that we can start over again. But they've already told us they don't want us to restart the game in the middle of Clash of Wills because it causes problems. But we have no other choice because your game is freezing just by using the mechanics that are built into the game. Also, the focus bar sporadically disappears and makes it really hard to tell. Do I have 1 crystal, 2 crystals, 3 crystals? What is my bar even filling up? Because it just disappears. I know we're in beta, okay? The graphical element should not just be disappearing in the middle of the fight. And the game shouldn't be crashing just because we're using the morale bar that you gave us. Okay, that's why the fact that the Focus Plus abilities are more than 3 times as good as regular Focus is a big deal, because Mania mode is damn near unsurvivable unless you have a very specific setup. And that's not fun. You're not going to survive that for 5 turns waiting for Focus Energy to fill you up. You need Focus Energy Plus. You have to have Focus Energy Plus. Like clears are just built around you having at least 2 of these units in your team. So I hope you pulled them for high EX levels. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And speaking of Vertex abilities, right? Who gets them? Well, Murray gets them. This one is actually fairly decent because, increasing your attack for 2 turns at 100%. It's just an additional stacks with everything ability. Kind of nice, and it actually helps you really do a lot of damage on bonus time, which is really good. Esther's, there's no point to this ability. The only point to this ability is that it gets you out of Mania mode. The boss does not do lightning damage. This is useless, other than getting you out of Mania mode. And Esther is useless on top of it. Missed opportunity, right? You could have fixed Esther, but you didn't. You could have given her more damage. You could have given her better killers. You could have given her, fix her limit burst field. You could have given her crowns. You could have done something. You could have given her an ability that actually did something. Instead, you get, 50% lightning resistance. Actually, it's only 30%. Not even useful. Not even useful. There's never been a fight in recent history where I was like, man, I really wish I had 30% more lightning resistance. Worthless. Okay, worthless. All in all, I'm really not happy with these changes. And I don't think it's healthy for the game. And I assume that these changes are coming because the game is unhealthy. And this is what they're trying to do to get players to spend while they can. Plain and simple. If I could change anything, I would give more units vertex abilities, especially ones that actually contribute to the fight in meaningful ways. Allow for more units to have focus abilities. I love the idea that one of the commenters made about giving all units with Clash of Wills category focus abilities, or make those abilities included in the unit's multicast, or let them have multicast of their own, and communicate to us in advance. These are going to be next month's focus units. Make sure you have them. That way people can make choices. Put it in the monthly bulletin. You make a monthly bulletin every month that tells us, you know, what's coming. Kind of. Very vague. You could put this in there. I really like the idea of giving other units options to contribute in Clash of Wills, like giving the JP units something to do. But the way this is being rolled out, I think is really predatory. Makes the game inaccessible to a lot of players. And I can deal with not getting a rank 1. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm going to try and stay within the top 1,000 as best I can. I just hate people saying that they can't play or they don't want to play just because they don't want to chase Murray or can't chase Murray for whatever reason, or don't have an Esther. So like, if I don't have one of these two options, like, I'm done. I can't even really try level 99 because what if I accidentally trigger Mania mode, which is actually not that hard to trigger once you're in Echelon 5. Like, you could get stuck there very, very easily. And if you don't have Murray or Esther, like, sorry, you're not clearing level 99. It's too limiting. And for a game mode that originally praised and encouraged collecting units, being creative, putting the best combination of mods on, using the kits and the mechanics to get a good score, this is just a shame. So what's coming next? Here's the deal. Most people who follow my videos know that I'm not really a huge spender in this game. This past year, I've gone through a lot of changes, and I've actually had to stop spending in this game for a while. And I just recently came back to a point where I was finally able to kind of like start spending a little bit. I was wanting to give back to the game, start having some fun pulling units again. But with everything that's coming out right now, I just don't feel like it's worth it to me to invest what little bit I can into the game. I can't afford to chase 2 or 3 units a month just to have access to focus skills for 1 month's Clash of Wills. They already said in the live stream, like, next month's Clash of Wills focus units are going to be different. They're going to assign them to different units next month. It's just not sustainable for me to do that when I have a family to provide for. So rather than spending my money, I'm just not going to. I'm also not going to pull for Murray. I was planning to because I like the idea of her vertex ability. But after playing with the game and seeing what it was like, I'm just not going to do it. I don't like the game mode. I don't want to support what they're doing. I've even got Lapis to do it, free Lapis, and I'm not going to actively pull for Murray. She represents this new system, and I don't approve of this new system, and I don't want this new system to continue, and I'm not going to demonstrate my approval for it by actively pulling for her. I even want 1 copy of Gerrtt of the Frost, and he's on banner with her, and I could get one there and have EX3, but I don't want to support it. So maybe I'm standing on silly principles, but if I were to pull Murray just to get rank 1, I would be going against everything that I said that I cared about when it comes to this issue that they have been talking about since these changes were announced, and I have been very vocal about how I feel about it, and I don't want to, like, backtrack on what I said and what I feel. That said, if you see me with Murray on my account in some video or something like that, know that it came from a video summon or an EX ticket and not from me summoning her on purpose. Here's a question. Should you summon? I would say do so at your own risk. Should you save for Neovisions Plus? Who knows what that's even going to look like. In JP, it was a nightmare. And officially, they haven't even told us that we're going to get Neovisions Plus. So, like, should you be saving for it? Who knows? Personally, I don't think that these changes are good. I'd say that no. If you don't think that these changes are good either, I think you should give you should not give it your support. If you don't like the changes, I highly suggest you give them your feedback in whatever way you can, here on YouTube, Reddit, social media, customer service, feedback portal in the game. The sky's the limit. Let them know how you care about and what you feel about this game, and what you feel about this game mode, and whether or not you think it's good, healthy, sustainable. Let them know how it's going to impact you as a player and what you're going to do and not do. But for now, that's all I really have to say about it. Believe me when I say that I didn't want to just sit here and trash the game or trash the developers of the game mode, but this change to me is just not acceptable. And I know I'm not alone in thinking so, and that's why I wanted to get people talking and sharing their feedback and opinions on this video. It has some potential, I think, this game mode, but only if that potential is unlocked for a wider range of units, rather than forcing pulling and team design. It shouldn't be constrained to like 3 units plus whatever else you can fit in there. I would also expect that we're going to see more cheaters in Clash of Wills than ever before, because like the game mode is just like prohibitive to players, and people, when they get frustrated, they'll cheat. So I hope they're going to be ready to spend some resources in removing cheaters, because I actually worked for the score that I do have, and if I get edged out because of cheaters, well, then I'm definitely done. That'll be it for me for sure. And I don't want to be done. I want to keep playing this game until it really is done, because I started playing on day 1, and it'd be really cool for me to be able to say, like, I played it from start to finish. I want to be proud of that. But like, I don't want to quit over some cheaters, so better remove them if they do cheat. I would also expect that based on how this is going, that you're going to see some people quitting, and that would be really unfortunate. But maybe that's like just a sign of what happens when people can't play the content, when people can't do what the game encourages. It is what it is. I hope that doesn't happen. I'm not planning on quitting, like I said, other than the issues with cheaters. But there you have it. There's my take on it. So I'm going to pin the questions in the comments. I want you to take a minute, breathe, and give us some feedback on those questions. Put them in the comments as well, and let us know what you think. I'm always up for a discussion. But for now, I'm done, and I'll see you guys in the next one, whatever that is. Be good to each other. Take care. Have fun in Clash of Wills if you can, and good luck.